Want to make unforgettable memories?
How about traveling to all corners of Korea? Join us next time to explore more about Korean culture.
After a boiler tower collapsed at a power plant in Ulsan yesterday, 3 workers have been confirmed dead and 2 others are presumed to be dead. Rescue teams are continuing their search for 2 others still buried. As the U.S. Supreme Court weighs whether President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs were legal, the U.S. leader says it will be devastating if the court rules against his administration, adding that he will come up with a Game 2 plan if that happens. Following Trump's recent approval for South Korea to build a nuclear-powered submarine in Philadelphia, South Korean officials are now questioning its feasibility. Seoul's national security advisor says the government is instead pushing to build one at home, noting that overseas construction would be unrealistic due to high cost and logistical hurdles. Hello and thanks for joining us on Arirang News. We begin today with the fatal power plant collapse in Ulsan, where 3 workers have been confirmed dead. Rescuers are now continuing their search for others still apparently buried at the site. Our Muniran has the latest on the rescue efforts.
As of 11:30 a.m. Friday, 3 workers have been confirmed dead, and 2 are presumed to be dead in a fatal accident involving the collapse of a boiler tower in South Korea's southern industrial city of Ulsan. 2 others remain missing. The 60-meter boiler tower at Korea East-West Power's Ulsan thermal power plant came crashing down during demolition work on Thursday afternoon, trapping 9 workers on site. 2 were rescued early on, but 1 worker found trapped between the structure and the ground about an hour after the collapse, went into cardiac arrest during the rescue attempt, and was pronounced dead at 4:53 a.m. on Friday. Progress at the collapse site has slowed to a near standstill. The entry route is blocked by a dense wall of twisted rebar and steel, forcing crews to dig through more than 30 meters of debris just to reach the collapse point. After the only survivor who had been showing signs of life was pronounced dead, rescue teams temporarily withdrew due to the heightened risk of a secondary collapse. Firefighters have been removing debris by hand and entering through narrow gaps, but heavy machinery cannot be used safely. Nearby boiler towers, units 4 and 6, are also unstable, prompting authorities to delay planned stabilization work.
Even during stabilization work, secondary accidents could occur, so that part has been put on hold. We decided in our situation assessment meeting that we will first conduct a thorough search and then move on to stabilization or find another method.
Experts say that even with the need for speed, rescuers must strike a careful balance.
Speed matters, but the rescue has to be carried out safely, combining swift action with cautious dismantling.
The National Fire Agency has issued a nationwide mobilization order, deploying a 700-ton crane, rescue dogs and drones, while President Lee Jae-myung has instructed officials to use all available personnel and equipment to save lives. Moon Hae-ryun, Arirang News.
Over in the United States, the Supreme Court is deciding on the legality of President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. The U.S. leader says it would be devastating if the court rules against his administration and says he would consider alternatives. Our Lee Seung-jae reports.
The U.S. Supreme Court is weighing the legality of U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs, a case that could have major consequences for both the U.S. economy and global trade. During a hearing on Wednesday, both conservative and liberal justices raised doubts about whether a 1977 emergency powers law gave Trump the authority to impose broader tariffs or whether he overstepped Congress's powers. The case is seen as a key test of presidential authority in trade policy. In response, President Trump said Thursday he will consider alternatives if the court rules against his administration.
We thought we did very well yesterday. We hope that we did. I think it would be devastating for our country, but I also think that we'll have to develop a Game 2 plan. We'll see what happens. Most people tell me we did very well.
He added that any alternative approach would likely take longer to implement. If the court finds Trump's tariffs unlawful, the government may have to refund some of the duties collected from businesses. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer said in an interview with Fox News on Thursday that specific plaintiffs could receive refunds and that the government would need to work with the courts to determine repayment schedules. Greer estimated that the total amount at stake exceeds $100 billion and could approach $200 billion, though no exact figure has been confirmed. The ruling, expected in the coming months, will not only shape the scope of presidential powers, but could also affect U.S. trade relations around the world. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
South Korea's National Security Advisor Ri Sung-nak says the Korean government is pushing to build nuclear-powered submarines at home, calling overseas construction unrealistic due to high cost and logistical hurdles. Speaking during a National Assembly audit on Thursday, we dismissed options such as investing in U.S. shipyard facilities or commissioning General Dynamics, an American firm, to build the vessels. He stressed that Korea is seeking to build a more affordable model tailored to its operational needs, emphasizing strong cost-effectiveness. His comments come after U.S. President Donald Trump said on social media last week that he had given Seoul approval to develop a nuclear-powered submarine and said it'll be built at a shipyard in Philadelphia. Meanwhile, in North Korea, high-ranking political and military officials from the regime and Russia have met in Pyongyang for talks. According to North Korea's state-run Korean Central News Agency, representatives from the Korean People's Army General Political Bureau and Russia's main military political directorate held talks in the North Korean capital on Wednesday. The meeting was attended by Park Young-il, Vice Director of the General Political Bureau of the Korean People's Army, and Russian Deputy Defense Minister Viktor Goromykin. Discussions focused on strengthening cooperation and exchanges between the two nations' military and political institutions, in line with the deepening strategic partnership between Pyongyang and Moscow. Amid global efforts to curb greenhouse gas emissions, South Korea has revealed its potential goals. With two final options on the table amid some controversy surrounding them, the government plans to make its final decision next week. Our Park Gun-woo tells us more.
South Korea is just a few steps away from finalizing its 2035 greenhouse gas reduction target. That comes after the government on Thursday unveiled the two final options for its nationally determined contributions, narrowed down from 4 after extensive discussions. The choices are to cut emissions by either 50 to 60% or 53 to 60% compared to 2018. If reduced by at least 50%, the maximum level of total emissions in 2035 would be around 371 million tons, or 349 million tons if reduced by 53%. Considering last year's estimated emissions of nearly 700 million, there's still a long journey ahead within the next decade. The final target will be confirmed next week after review by the Presidential Commission on Carbon Neutrality and Green Growth and the Cabinet, and then submitted to the UN the following week, in line with the 2015 Paris Agreement that requires updated targets every 5 years. But disputes between industries and civic groups are expected to continue. Industry officials had pushed for a 48% cut, one of the 4 initial options previously, calling even that goal difficult to meet, while civic groups urged for reductions of up to 65%. As the Environment Ministry said Thursday that the government tried to balance the two sides, it's now up to the government's decision on how far Korea can go in protecting both the planet and its industries. Park Gun-woo, Arirang News.
On the cultural front, the Seoul Metropolitan Dance Theater is returning to the stage with a brand new production that explores the harmony between nature and tradition. Mimesis reinterprets Korea's traditional dance heritage through a modern lens. Our Pyeongyang was there.
Dancers dressed in white chokori shirts with vivid blue and red skirts move gracefully across the stage. Each gesture, down to the tips of their fingers, is deliberate. Their movements are like gentle ripples gliding across a still lake. This is Kyobangmu, the opening scene of Mimesis, a new work unveiled by the Seoul Metropolitan Dance Theater at the Sejong M Theater in Gwanghwamun. After the sold-out success of Ilmu, or One Dance, the troupe returns with Mimesis. It's a reflection on how nature breathes within Korea's traditional dances. The performance reinterprets 8 classic forms, all of which represent a different element of nature, such as the wind that blows through Hallangmu and the lightning that pierces the sky in Changgyeommu, with its finale culminating in fire and light.
Our dances are a complete gift set of Korean tradition and folklore. As we explored the essence of each piece, we realized that the flow of nature is deeply embedded within our heritage, that every phenomenon we live with is mirrored in our traditional forms.
The dancers' modernized hanbok are also turning heads. A sheer, form-fitting chogori accentuates the dancers' breathing and movement, while voluminous skirts restore the elegance of traditional silhouettes.
The most distinctive feature of traditional attire is the balance of a slim top and full bottom. I wanted to highlight that contrast to express both structure and vitality.
In each dance, unique accessories accentuate the dancers' movements. And a live orchestra of 9 musicians perform traditional Korean instruments, filling the stage with the deep resonance of Korean rhythm. The production also features star dancer Kim Woo-gun, known from Mnet's dance competition Stage Fighter, whose intense performances in the sword dance Changgyeommu and finale Taepyeongmu bring a virtuoso solo performance to this ensemble masterpiece. The first run of Mimesis continues through Sunday at the Sejong M Theater. Pyeongyang, Arirang News.
And curtains have gone down on this year's APEC Forum in Gyeongju, but the historic city is maintaining its efforts to engage foreign visitors to the beauty of Korea's heritage. Our Cha Eun-kyung has a glimpse.
This is Ohan House, an exhibition space located in the K Business Square at the Gyeongju Expo Grand Park. Here, visitors can experience 5 elements of traditional Korean culture: Hansik, or Korean cuisine; Hangul, the Korean alphabet; Hanji, traditional paper; Hanbok, clothing; and Hanok, a traditional house. Forum visitors can use AI to draw Korean traditional paintings or practice writing their English names in Hangul. Although Korean culture may feel unfamiliar to them, it is perceived as something as innovative and refreshing as cutting-edge technology.
Yeah, it gave us an idea that how Korea has, or what are the different 5 pillars of the Korean culture. So, very nice. Very happy to be here.
They can practice traditional calligraphy and enjoy pansori, or Korean folk music performances. These unique Korean cultural experiences provided a refreshing break from their hectic schedules and allowed them to relax. Captivated by the charm of Korean traditions, foreign visitors went to Gyeongju's Gyochon Hanok village. There, they explored tiled roof houses lined with stone walls, experiencing the essence of Korean heritage.
It's very traditional, but also incredibly beautiful. I think for me, I really enjoyed the food. Is amazing and very varied. Also, I think the people here are very friendly and welcoming.
The Ohan House will reopen from November 10th until the 23rd after a revision, welcoming visitors every day from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. 차윤경, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you everything you need to know around the globe. We start in Southeast Asia, where after causing death and destruction in the Philippines, Typhoon Kalmaegi has now struck Vietnam. Asia's most powerful storm of the year made landfall in Vietnam on Thursday evening, bringing winds close to 150 kilometers per hour and heavy rain across the central part of the country, which has already seen extensive flooding this month. Authorities have put 260,000 soldiers on standby, and 6 airports are now closed. Officials warn the storm could cause severe flooding and landslides as it moves inland. According to the disaster database, this typhoon is so far the world's deadliest of 2025, killing at least 114 in the Philippines, where it flooded entire towns. In the United States, Tesla shareholders have approved a record-breaking pay package for CEO Elon Musk worth nearly $1 trillion, the largest in corporate history. 75% of Tesla shareholders voted in favor of the deal at Thursday's annual meeting. The plan ties Musk's compensation to steep performance targets, including lifting Tesla's market value from the current $1.4 trillion to $8.5 trillion and deploying 1 million self-driving robotaxis. Supporters say Tesla can't afford to lose him, while critics call the scale of the deal unprecedented and risky. Musk celebrated on stage to loud applause, calling it, quote, a whole new book for Tesla's future. Tesla shares are up more than 60% in the past 6 months. As analysts say, Musk remains the company's biggest asset. In the United States, former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has announced she will not seek re-election, ending nearly 4 decades in Congress. Pelosi, aged 85, made the announcement on Thursday in a video message to her San Francisco constituents, calling her career, quote, the honor of a lifetime. Elected in 1987, she became the first and only woman to serve as Speaker of the U.S. House, leading Democrats through historic votes on health care, impeachments, and pandemic relief. Her decision follows a major political victory in California this week, where a redistricting measure she backed won by a wide margin. While former President Biden praised Pelosi as, quote, the best speaker in American history, President Trump called her, quote, evil and said he's glad Pelosi is retiring. Nancy Pelosi's final term will end next year. A new United Nations report warns this year is said to be one of the hottest ever recorded, pushing the planet deeper into climate crisis. The World Meteorological Organization said Thursday that 2023, 2024, and 2025 will rank as the hottest years in 176 years of records. Global temperatures so far are 1.42 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels, with greenhouse gases at record highs. UN Chief Antonio Guterres called the failure to limit warming to 1.5 degrees, quote, a moral failure, warning of irreversible damage unless urgent action is taken. Chu Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
Today marks Ipdong, the beginning of winter on the seasonal calendar, but we'll continue to see mild autumn weather with temperatures staying above seasonal norms. Meanwhile, air quality will be bad across western regions, including in the capital area again from late this afternoon through tomorrow. So make sure to wear a mask outdoors and stay hydrated to stay well. Along the East Coast, skies will be mostly cloudy with 5 to 30 millimeters of rain expected from late this afternoon into tomorrow in the east of Gangwon-do province. And this afternoon, Seoul will be getting up to 20 degrees Celsius. Daegu, Gwangju both rising to 21 degrees Celsius. And over the weekend, nationwide rain is expected, which will bring a sharp drop in temperatures early next week, but it will gradually warm up in a pattern that are similar to this week. So for the college entrance exam day next Thursday, the weather looks mostly clear with no severe cold expected.
That's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.
Feeling overwhelmed by a busy life without knowing where you are heading.
Realizing your mind has gone completely blank.
If you need